Imagine this. You're sitting at home, looking at your paycheck and wondering why it feels so small when you know you're making decent money. Then tax season rolls around and suddenly you're getting a huge refund. Maybe $2, $3, even $5,000. Most people get excited about that refund. But here's the truth. That big refund means you've been giving the government an interest-free loan all year. That was your money. You could have had it in your pocket months ago. So what if I told you there's a simple hack that can change this instantly? A 10-minute move that could put an extra $200 to $500 back into your paycheck every single month without working overtime or asking your boss for a raise. It's 100% legal and most people never take advantage of it. That hack is adjusting your W-4 form the right way. Let me break it down for you in a way that actually makes sense, because most explanations out there are either too vague or way too complicated. The W-4 is a form you give your employer that tells them how much federal income tax to withhold from your paycheck. The problem is that most people fill it out once when they start a job and then forget about it. But life changes. You might get married, have kids, pick up a side hustle, or even qualify for tax credits you didn't before. If you don't update your W-4, chances are you're overpaying the IRS every paycheck. That's why so many Americans get huge refunds at the end of the year. Last year, the average tax refund was about $3,000. Think about that for a second. $3,000 is $250 a month that you could have been using all year long to pay down debt, cover bills, or invest. Instead, the IRS held on to it for free until April for you. Now here's the hack. You can adjust your W-4 so that your withholdings match your actual tax liability. In other words, instead of getting a big refund later, you get that money now in your paycheck. And you can do this in less than 10 minutes using a tool from the IRS itself. Here's how it works. You go to the IRS Tax Withholding Estimator. Just Google IRS Tax Withholding Estimator or go directly to irs.gov/W4 app. This tool asks you a few questions. Your income, your filing status, how many dependents you have, and whether you have other sources of income like a side hustle. Once you fill that in, the estimator tells you exactly how much should be withheld from your paycheck. It even shows you if you're currently overpaying or underpaying. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're single, you make $50,000 a year, and you have no kids. Most people in this situation claim zero dependents when they start their job because they think it's safer. But if you do that, you're probably having way too much withheld. At $50,000 a year, your estimated federal income tax is about $4,300 for the whole year. But if you claim zero allowances, you might actually have $6,000 or more withheld. That's an extra $1,700 you didn't need to give up. $1,700 divided over 12 months is about $140 a month that you could have kept in your pocket. Now imagine what you could do with an extra $140 a month. That could cover a utility bill, a cell phone plan, or even be invested. And that's just a single person with no kids. Now let's look at another example. Say you're married, filing jointly, and you and your spouse make a combined income of $80,000. You also have 2 kids. In this case, you qualify for the child tax credit of $2,000 per child, which means you're getting $4,000 in credits right off the top. Add in the standard deduction for married couples, which is $29,200, and your taxable income is much lower than you probably think. If you filled out your W-4 wrong and claimed zero dependents, you might be giving up an extra $3,000 to $4,000 a year. That's $250 to $333 every single month. That money could pay part of your mortgage, cover your groceries, or go into a retirement account. And you're not doing anything shady. You're just making sure your employer is withholding the right amount for your actual tax situation. This is where the IRS estimator really shines. If you have a side hustle like driving for Uber, delivering with DoorDash, or running a small business online, you're probably going to owe self-employment tax on that income. Instead of getting slammed with a tax bill in April, you can use the estimator to figure out how much extra should come out of your regular paycheck to cover that. This keeps you from getting hit with penalties and also keeps your cash flow predictable. Once you have your numbers, the next step is to update your W-4 with your employer. Most companies let you do this online through your HR portal or payroll provider like ADP or Workday. You'll fill in your personal information, add your dependents, enter any other income if you have it, and then adjust your withholding according to what the IRS estimator suggests. Then you sign and submit it. That's it. In about 10 minutes, you've effectively given yourself a raise without asking your boss for a dime. Now, if you're wondering how much your new paycheck will be, there are tools for that too. The Smart Asset Paycheck Calculator is great because you can plug in your income and see exactly what your new take-home pay will look like. H&R Block also has a tax calculator that's especially helpful if you have multiple income streams. And if your employer uses ADP, they have their own calculator built in. Once you see the difference, it's a game changer. When you start seeing that extra $200 or $300 a month, don't blow it on random stuff. Use it to improve your financial life. Pay down high-interest debt first, especially credit cards that are eating you alive at 20% interest. Start an emergency fund if you don't have one. Even putting aside $100 a month can make a big difference when unexpected expenses pop up. Or start investing. $200 a month invested in an index fund for 30 years could grow to over $300,000 thanks to compound growth. That's the power of putting your money to work instead of letting the IRS hold it hostage all year. One thing I need to stress is this: don't under-withhold. This hack works because you're adjusting to your real tax situation, not because you're skipping taxes. If you claim too much and under-withhold, you could end up with a tax bill and even penalties next year. That's why the IRS estimator is so important. It gives you accurate numbers based on your actual income and circumstances. I'll give you a real-life example. A friend of mine, single mom, making $60,000 a year, claiming zero allowances because she thought that was the safest move. Her refund the year before was $4,800. That means she overpaid by $4,800. We sat down, used the IRS estimator, and adjusted her W-4. Her paycheck went up by $400 a month. That's almost $5,000 a year back in her hands instead of sitting with the government. She used that money to pay off debt and start saving for a house. So here's my challenge for you. As soon as you're done reading this, go to the IRS tax withholding estimator. It takes less than 10 minutes. Then update your W-4 with your employer. This is the easiest legal way to put more money in your pocket instantly, and most people never do it because they don't know how. Now you do. Would you rather give Uncle Sam a free loan or keep your own money? The choice is yours. And if you found this helpful, you're going to love what I have coming next. I'm going to show you how to turn that extra money into $1 million over time. So stick around, because the W-4 hack is just the beginning of your financial freedom. And that was all from us today for this video, folks. For more similar content, make sure to watch our other video on how you can build your emergency fund in 100 days.